This is a question that gets asked every single day to the people in my office, and that is, what should I bring to closing? I'm Tiffany Weber, and I'm a real estate lawyer in the Lake Norman area of North Carolina, and we put out educational videos like this one so that you can understand more about real estate law and the real estate closing process. So let's get right into it. What do you need to bring with you to the closing appointment? Well, there's some things that everyone needs to bring, so buyers and sellers, and that is, number one, please bring all the signers. In North Carolina, if you're married, you should assume that your spouse needs to sign, absent some special circumstance. You would not believe, despite how many times they've been told, a seller or a buyer will show up and say, oh, I didn't realize that my spouse had to come because I'm the only one on the loan, or I bought the house when I was single. Remember, if you are coming to closing and you are married, 99.5% of the time, you're going to have to bring your spouse. If you're not sure, just ask. Now, all the signers need to bring with them a valid photo ID. And if you're getting a loan, your lender may require a second form of ID. So that's another thing that you should ask before you come is, one valid photo ID going to be enough, or does my lender want me to bring another one? If you are a seller, it is a good idea to bring your instructions for how you want to receive your proceeds. So in my office, we could wire you your proceeds, you could pick up a check, or we could mail you a check. So if you're going to have your proceeds wired, you're going to need to bring your account and routing number to the closing so then that can happen. You can do that by a voided check, so you're welcome to bring your checkbook, void a check, and provide it to the closing attorney at the table, or you can bring that account and routing number in some other form. Just check it for accuracy to make sure that the funds will be sent to the account of your choosing. Other things that sellers need to bring to closing are keys, garage door openers, pool fobs, anything that will allow access to the house or to the amenities in the neighborhood, unless you have made other arrangements. Sometimes a buyer or the agents will discuss leaving those items in the house and just bringing one key to closing, but it's a good idea to bring those things to closing, whether the seller decides to release those before recording or not, because it's usually more convenient for the buyer just to be able to run by the closing attorney's office to be able to pick up the keys once the deed has recorded. If you are a buyer, then you should bring your checkbook to closing. We like to have funds wired to our office, and that is not just because we like it and it's more secure and it can get to our office faster than by someone bringing a check. It's because North Carolina requires it in the Good Funds Settlement Act. So there's certain ways that we can accept money and others we cannot. For example, do not bring us cash. But for small amounts that can come up at closing or that may change from the time you were provided the number to wire by the lender several days ago, bring your checkbook and we can accept a check for small amounts to make up the difference in what you wired. Now, it's usually a good idea to wire more than you think you will need if you have the available cash flow. That way, at the closing, we can simply cut you a check back for what you sent over and above, or we could even wire it back to your account. And one other thing that you may not always be told, but I think it's a good idea for buyers to bring a list of their questions. It's kind of like going to the doctor. On the way there, you're driving and you say, I want to ask about this, and then I've got, my eye twitches and this hurts. And by the time you get in the room with the doctor and you're talking about the primary concern, you forget to ask all the other things. And on the drive home, you're kicking yourself like, why didn't I write it down? I would have just remembered to ask if I'd made myself a list. So I think it's a good idea that you write down all the list of the questions that you want to make sure you get answered by the closing attorney or the seller, things about the house that you want to make sure you know how to operate. Just make your list of questions and be sure to ask it at the table. That is the perfect opportunity. That is what the closing attorney is there for, to make sure that you understand exactly what just happened when you're closing on your home. And I almost forgot. So if you are in a circumstance where you are signing as a power of attorney for someone, or perhaps you are able to buy a home without the joinder of your spouse because you have a free trader or a separation agreement or a prenuptial agreement, if that document has not already been recorded with the Register of Deeds, you have to bring the original with you so that it can be recorded before the closing documents are recorded. So that has to be done before anything that you sign as a power of attorney can go on record in the Register of Deeds. If you forget that, your closing will absolutely be delayed. There's nothing that can be done until the original is in the hands of the closing attorney. So it's incredibly important that if any of those documents apply to you, that you bring the original with you to the closing appointment. That's it. I mean, I guess you could bring your dog too. I do like dogs. It's possible I might have missed something, but I think that's a pretty thorough list of what you should bring to closing. If you have any questions about what you should bring to closing, or you have something that doesn't exactly fit in what we talked about today, then always call the closing attorney's office. That's what they're there for. They will absolutely help you know what you should bring to the closing appointment. And hopefully this was helpful. I'm Tiffany Weber, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about real estate law and see more videos like this one, and I will see you in the next video.